Hello everyone, it's Melinda here with CatSmashPuzzles, and today we are going to do triple the puzzles. As you can see, I have 3 Speedmaster puzzles in front of me, and we are going to do each of these individually, and I will do a time lapse of all 3 of them at the same time because I want to catch up on these. Now, I have done 3 out of the 6 Speedmaster puzzles, and these are the other 3 I did not have, and I bought them on National Puzzle Day when they had a massive sale, so I went and bought all 3 that I was missing. But real quick, I'll do a little recap of the ones I have done, and then I'll go over some results for these and why I hadn't done them yet and why I hadn't gotten them. So, first things first, the first Speedmaster puzzle I did was Bento Box, right here. And that was one of the SpeedPuzzling.com's competitions. And I did it in 54 minutes and 49 seconds. So it was a bit of a difficult one. It was easy to sort, but there was quite a few pieces very similar to each other, so I kind of got stuck on a few spots. And then the second puzzle was Down to Earth. And I did it in 47 minutes and 33 seconds, so it was a little bit quicker on this one. Again, it was an easy one to maybe sort a little, but I think it was just a nicer puzzle. I kind of enjoyed that one more than Bento Box. And I got under 50 minutes, so I was relatively happy about that. And then the last one I did was Good Morning, and I did that in 48 minutes and 37 seconds. So I'm kind of averaging about 50 minutes with Speedmaster puzzles, which is a bit on the high side for me. I really want to lower that down to the 40s. But compared to everybody else, I'm still in that top section, so it is a little bit harder, surprisingly, even though these puzzles are specifically designed for speed puzzlers. I think it's more for sorting purposes and not for speed, but I do think the designs are very pretty. I love the boxes, and so I want to do all 3 of these guys in one shot because I want to see if I can go faster with these puzzle brand, or if I'm kind of just averaging out at that 50-minute mark with all of them. Now, so far, SpeedPuzzling.com, except for Good Morning, has not had any other Speedmaster puzzles come out. So I suspect they're going through, trying to figure out the designs and trying to, get the next batch out, which probably will be sometime in maybe summer or fall, from what I understand. But I'll go ahead and go over all 3 of these guys and why I hadn't gotten them yet. So first things first, these 2 were done at the Utah State Championship run by SpeedPuzzling.com. And then this one was the solo puzzle, and then this one was the pair puzzle. And then this one here was the California State Championship solo puzzle. And so the first one here is called Just Desserts. So it's about probably another kind of bento box style where you kind of organize based on the cakes. The second one here is Jam Session. I do think the colors are going to be more unique here, and they'll be easy to identify. I think this will be my fastest puzzle. That's just my prediction anyway. And then Surf Fever, I think also might be on par with the Jam Session. But yeah, I do think that all 3 of these are going to be relatively quick. This one might be my slowest one. I think it's just going to be, I think the lines on these 2 are a bit more distinct. But I'll go ahead and share some times with you and kind of get an idea of where I want to go with these. So I'm going to throw out my 2 normal time goals for this, and I want to actually try to get these guys in the 45-minute or lower mark. And you'll see why in a second. So for the Utah State Championship, the fastest time was 48 minutes and 9 seconds by Melody. Kyle was also there, and he got it, I think, 40 seconds later. So this one might be a hard one to get under 45 minutes. I do think it's going to be a bit more difficult. I'm going to try to force myself not to sort. I'm going to want to sort, and it's just, I think it takes too much time to do it. I either have to get really fast at sorting, or I really have to just ditch it altogether. Still kind of figuring that out, but I think this will be my slowest one. Can I get this under 45 minutes? If one of the top puzzlers didn't do it, I might have a hard time. So we'll see. I think my bet with this one, I'll do it in 52, 53 minutes. That's where I think I'll land with Just Desserts. Now, Jam Session was the pairs Utah State Championship puzzle, so it's hard for me to compare myself to pairs, but the fastest pair was 28 minutes. I'm not doing this in 28 minutes, so I kind of went online to see where the times were on myspeedpuzzling.com for solo, and the fastest puzzlers, there's about 3 or 4 there that, Hannah, Irina, and I think Alice, our champion, they did this around the 40-minute mark, I believe. So if I can stay under 45 minutes, I'm good with this one. I think I'll be at the 45-minute one for this. I think that's a good, reasonable guess for this one. I think this was also done in the Australian or New Zealand Championship. I couldn't find it. I couldn't figure out which one it was done for. They managed to get a shipment of it over there to do the competition, but I don't know where it was. I couldn't find results, so I don't have that time to compare. And finally, we have Surf Fever from the California State Championship from last year. And California is where all the heavy hitters, or at least most of them, are. They have the Orange County Speed Puzzlers. They have, most of the top at nationals were from California. So I know that the top times for this was going to be pretty high. And surprisingly enough, Alice did show up at the California State Championship, and she did this in 36 minutes, which, she's impressive. She gets these done in the 30-minute range, and it's very quick. But she's actually from Colorado, from what I understand. I don't think she's from California. But Hannah D did this in 43 minutes. So again, if I stay under 45, I will be doing pretty good. So, but they are kind of gradients, the Jam Session and Surf Fever, so it's not my strength. So I am kind of curious where these two is going to end up. I think for these two, I think I'm going to be faster at Jam Session a little bit. I think I'll be in the 47-minute range. And then for Surf Fever, I think this is my fastest one. I said earlier that this one would be, I think Surf Fever is my faster one. I think I'll be in the 44 to 45 minutes on that one. But I could be completely wrong. I could be faster at Just Desserts, or I could be very slow at one of these and kind of just, completely knocks my prediction out of the water. So, yes, I want to catch up on Speedmasters. I definitely want to see, I want to collect these. These are going to be collector's items for me. They are a limited edition, and as I look on the back of these, this was like 608 out of 1,200. This one's 724 out of 1,200. And this one's 159 out of 1,200. So they have quite a few left of Jam Session, at least when I bought it back in January. But I think they only produced 1,200 of these for each of them. I want to make sure I get a hold of them because they are designed for us speed puzzlers, and I think they'll be a good collector's item. So those are the stats for these puzzles. I do think that the 45-minute goal for these three will be an excellent one for me to be. And again, I am filming this after Nationals, and so I know my results, I know where I stand, and I'm hoping that I continue to improve. So, Speedmasters ×3. Let's smash them. surprises with these puzzles. Once again, these were the 3 Speedmaster puzzles I hadn't had a chance to do yet that were done in prior competitions, and I got hold of them from their sale on the National Puzzle Day. So this was Just Desserts, and the artist is Nick Martinson. And then we have Surf Fever and Jam Session, and the artist is Jose Velez. And so for both of these, and so I wanted to mention the artist real quick. My prediction was I would be the slowest at this one and be fastest at Surf, and then the second fastest at Jam Session. Well, I was completely mismatched my order here. So it was actually the fastest was Jam Session, followed by Just Desserts, and then the Surf Fever. I did Jam Session in 44 minutes and 21 seconds. I did Just Desserts in 47 minutes and 31 seconds. And I did Surf Fever in 49 minutes and 34 seconds. So only one of them got under the 45-minute goal I was trying to get. The other 2 were just above it. This one got really close to 50 minutes, but I was under 50 minutes for all 3. So I'm not too upset with those times, but I'll kind of go over each one and kind of what happened with a few of them. So the first one I did was Just Desserts. I did a full flip on the pieces, and then I just kind of started putting the puzzle together. And it honestly came together rather quickly. Some of the strawberries were a bit hard because there was a few places where it was, but I think it had so many distinct aspects that it just came together rather quickly. I just think I should have been a little bit better at getting pieces where they should have been a little faster, but otherwise I had no issue with it. The dark green in the background actually kind of shouted out to me, so that's what I started with. But honestly, the results kind of speak for themselves. If I was in the Utah State Championship for this puzzle, I would have been first place by about 40 seconds. So, can't really be upset about that time. The second one I did was Surf Fever, and this one was probably what I would call the disaster one. I basically did have a horrendous start. I didn't flip all the pieces at the very beginning. I was kind of all over the place. I just did a lot of sections at random times and wasn't very organized. I did do the girl in the middle pretty quickly because she was very distinct, and her surfboard as well, but overall, the random colors of the waves here really did throw me off, and that's kind of where my weakness started to show. So I did flounder a bit with this one in regards to speed, and I think it was simply my disastrous start was kind of the result of my time. But again, I was still under 50 minutes, so I was able to recover a little bit. But this was again done in the California State Championship, which is where a lot of the heavy hitters are. So I was a bit worried about where I would place in California with that time. And I would have been 13th place, which, you know what, I'm okay with. A lot of heavy hitters there. And actually Alice, who, if you've seen the U.S. Nationals, know where she placed. She was actually there, and she's from Colorado. And she did this in 36 minutes, which, that's pretty impressive. So I've got to figure out her secret a little bit. But ultimately, I just had a struggled time with that one. And then the text also threw me off a little bit. There was no text on this one, so I think that was what made me faster here. And then Jam Session was my best time, and I think there was a real reason why. My beginning of this puzzle was excellent. I flipped all the pieces, I think, just at the 3-minute mark. I actually did a sort with the top red section up in the corner here, and I was so fast at sorting that section, that top corner basically came together in 10 minutes. Like the first 10 minutes of my puzzling, I had that section done. And so that is going to be kind of my goal to when I start a puzzle. That needs to be the golden standard for me when I start. I have to have all the pieces flipped by 3 minutes, and I've got to have a good chunk of this puzzle started to go like that. But I actually utilized both hands to sort the puzzle. I grabbed everything. It was so distinct for me. And so I was thinking I would get under 40 minutes with this one because of my strong start. But I think that due to the text at the very end of it, the Jam Session on the side here, I slowed down, and unfortunately my weakness got me. So something I've kind of noticed, and I've been texting Christina back and forth today, is that I either have a strong start and a weak finish, or I have a weak start and a strong finish. I seem to flip-flop between the two. And so I've got to figure out how to, strong start, strong finish, not have a weak either one of them, basically. So I've got to figure out how to solve that issue, but we'll see. I have to, You know, I think I get bogged down sometimes when I have a strong start and then I start to fade away, or I have a horrible start and I have to force myself to catch up. So maybe that mentality of urgency is what kind of saved me on some of those. But and then this puzzle here was done for the Utah Pairs final, and you know, it's hard for me to really want to compare myself to pair times, but actually I would have been 13th place with just my solo time in the pairs. But again, that's not a good one-on-one comparison, so I did look on myspeedpuzzling.com, and I would be 6th place out of roughly about 80 people right now, and I only look at the first attempts because this was my first attempt at the puzzle. So, not bad. A few first attempts were you know, in the low 40s. So again, I think if I had just maybe not slowed down on the text part here, I would have been under 40 minutes. And it was such a strong start, and I was kind of disappointed with myself not being under 40 minutes on that. But I really did enjoy these puzzles. These are going to be good ones to practice with. I now have all 6 of the Speedmaster puzzles, so I'm super excited to, you know, share these with y'all. If you haven't had them, if you haven't gotten them by chance, I would recommend getting them. They are a limited edition. They only do print 1,200 of these puzzles, so if you do want them, I would recommend getting them before they sell out. Most of my goals were successful here. Not quite my 45-minute goal, but I think that these puzzles are a little bit trickier than they tend to be. You know, they might be a good sorting puzzle, but maybe not quite the fastest speed puzzle. So hopefully the next Speedmaster puzzle comes out in speedpuzzling.com's competitions. So far it's been Boardwalk for the new releases, but I guess they'll do another batch sometime in the next couple months, I suspect. So we'll have to see. As for these 3, I think we smashed them. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.